Hey, my name is Melissa, and what I wanted to do was start a video and sort of talk about Instacart and my experience with Instacart. So, in order to do that, I'm going to kind of give you a background idea as to why I started using it. Don't really remember how I found out about it. I think it was really just people telling me, like my mom, she works at Ralph's grocery store, and I'm pretty sure she told me, like, hey, I know you're looking for extra money. Like, this is something that you could do. You could deliver groceries. But the reason why I started shopping for Instacart is because I am 26 years old. But when I started, I was 25. I was in my grad program at school, so I was in school. I was also teaching. I was a graduate teaching associate. I'm at SDSU, so in San Diego, and I'm also a mom. So I had my son really young. I had him when I was a senior in high school, which has been really freaking hard. It's been really hard. I don't get help from his dad, and I struggle. I struggle financially. I've always struggled because I've been in school. And because of that, I was never able to work full time. Anyways, that's just kind of the gist of like my financial situation. I had loans out. I was working not quite full time teaching at the university. But my problem was that I wanted to work and I wanted to make extra money, but I couldn't necessarily do that because I was a single mom. So what's the dilemma there? It's that what do I do with my son when I'm working? How do I get another job when I can't afford to pay for childcare? So Instacart is actually perfect for someone like me in my situation who is a single mom and wants to make extra money but really can't because you can't afford childcare. So anyway, so I found out about Instacart and I started shopping for them. And yes, I did bring my son with me and I still do. I don't work for them full time. I shop for them part time. And there are quite a few reasons for this. I don't know how people work full time for Instacart. I think it's incredibly hard. I think people who work for it and have full time to invest in it, I think that's perfect. But if you have like other jobs or you have other things going on, it's really difficult to I don't know, maintain status with Instacart, and I can explain that to you. So the way Instacart works is that you have to sort of like pre-order your hour pre-order. Like you schedule your shifts. So typically, and I'm trying to think, I think it's on every Sunday morning starting at 9 a.m. They open up the schedule and you're able to select hours. However, if you have reliability incidents, which I have quite a few of them, they start cutting back. Like you're not able to, essentially, I'm not able to get hours until the day before. And because there are so many workers in the San Diego area, it's really hard for me to get hours. But the reason I have these reliability incidents is because Instacart is horrible sometimes. Sometimes they make you sit around and wait around, and I've waited around for hours and not gotten one batch. They call it a batch when an order comes in. And I have gotten not even a batch, and I just feel like I'm wasting my day. So then I go out, make plans, hang out with friends, or go do something else, and then all of a sudden a batch will show up and it's like, oh, take this batch. It's, you'll get $13 for it. And I'm always like, no, screw that. I'm out doing what I want to do for the day now. So what happens is if you don't take it, they give you a reliability incident, which is essentially like them saying like that you're not reliable. And I think you get like 5 of those, and I've gotten 5. So I'm at the point now where I can only schedule my hours the day before. It's really difficult to get back to a place because they make you work so many shifts in order to just delete each reliability incident so that you can schedule hours, but it's not easy. So anyways, so I wanted to talk about a few things. So if you're thinking about doing Instacart, I don't think it's a horrible idea. I don't think it's like the best of the apps out there. Like I know that there's Uber, I know that there's Lyft. I couldn't do those because my car was it wasn't like within the year that it needs to be to work for them, but I've heard that they make a lot more than Instacart shoppers. But if you're in my situation, like I had a kid, so of course I'm not going to do Uber with my son in the backseat. That'd be kind of weird. But so that's why Instacart worked for me. And like if you have an older car or whatever too, like you could still do Instacart. I think you just need to have car insurance, and they are going to they're going to do a background check, and I'm pretty sure that they check your driving record. So you have to make sure that you have pretty clean background check and driving record. But a few things that I kind of wanted to talk about for Instacart is like, one, you will be paying out of pocket for gas, so that's something to consider. I'm pretty sure that you can, write it off in your taxes. Well, I know that you can. You can write it off in your taxes, but I'm just saying it's kind of a loss at the beginning. When I work like an 8-hour shift for Instacart, I probably drive about anywhere from like 70 to 100 miles. And that's me in the San Diego area, in a city where there are a lot of batches. So I'm not sure if it gets worse if you're in a place where there are less batches, because if there are less, it means you have to drive farther to get to those different batches, right? Where I have more opportunity for closer batches, and yet I'm still driving lengths, because you essentially get the batch. You have to drive all the way to that store, and sometimes it's not even the closest store. Some of the stores have like the Instacart operated cash registers, and some don't. So sometimes you have to go to a totally different store. Then you get the groceries, you have to drive to that person's house. And then if you're in a location where you're not getting any batches, you then have to drive back to a location where you can get batches. So it can be pretty expensive for gas in that sense. Let's see. One thing that's really horrible, and I don't know why people do this, because when you go to a restaurant and you eat, people technically believe that tipping your servers is like a must thing. It's like you're a total asshole if you don't tip your servers. But for some reason, with services like Instacart, people don't function that way. They don't have those same thoughts. So I have gotten a lot of batches where I don't even get a tip at all, and it's really kind of fucked up. It sucks because there have been times where I have been like downtown San Diego, almost gotten a parking ticket. I put like my hazard light on, like ran all the way up a building with like jugs of water, like had to come back multiple times. I've gone up to like the 30th floor of an apartment to deliver groceries, and sometimes they just don't tip you. And the problem is with this is that Instacart, without tips, oh my God, it doesn't even pay minimum wage. So if you're not getting tips from your customers, then you're not making very much money. And I think it's unfortunate that Instacart does this, because it basically puts agency on the customers to then tip you, which is kind of fucked up, right? Because then they're not paying you as much as they should, and then if the customers aren't going to tip you, then you're not going to make that much. But luckily, they just did an app update where it tells you beforehand if the customer has already tipped or not. And now that they did that, I'm so thankful, because I will not accept a batch if it doesn't have a tip. So it'll tell you about like the estimate of what you'll make. The thing is, if you accept a batch without a tip, you might still get, you could still get a tip. I think they give you like a week, or they give the customer a week to tip you. But my philosophy is like, when they're putting in the order and it says, do you want to tip your shopper? And if they don't put anything in there, like my assumption is they're just not going to tip you. So anyways, if you end up shopping for them, be aware of that. My other philosophy is that like I do not take batches that pay less than like $13. So if it's like less than 20 items, I absolutely do not take it. Unless it has really expensive items. So if it has really expensive items like liquor or a lot of meat, it could be heavy. But if it goes over a certain limit, so like if your batch goes over like $200, I think they give you like an extra $5 on your earnings summary for that order. And then if it goes over like 300 or 400, like they give you extra money, which is great because I think they're trying to compensate for how difficult it must have been with all the bags and how heavy it was and all of that. So just be aware of that because like there have been some like I think a couple times I've gotten tipped really good. Like I got tipped $50 once and then I got tipped $60 once. So those were really great tips, but they do not happen often at all. And I think it was like I was delivering to super wealthy people and it was on a holiday and I think they might have felt bad that I was working. I don't know. That's just kind of my theory there. But so yeah, I mean, maybe I can make another video about other experiences or more specific experiences that I've had with Instacart. But if you have any questions or any ideas or things that you want me to upload regarding Instacart or questions that you want me to answer, I would love to answer them for you. Maybe I could even make a video about how much I have made or earned from Instacart. So yeah, let me know and have a nice day.